Well, good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I am Steve Smith. First off, welcome to everybody. Welcome to all the new people who have joined both on YouTube and on Patreon. It's great to have you. Before we get, I'm going to talk today about what I consider to be the greatest danger that has come along in a long time, and it is the greatest danger to our freedoms, and that is a central bank digital currency, CBDC. You may have heard of it. Some of you may be fairly familiar with it. Most of you probably aren't, or even if you've heard of it, you probably aren't that familiar on how it would work or why it would be dangerous. And we're going to get into that today. Before we start, this is the sixth video I've made today between here and the other channels. But I do want to remind you before we get into it that this, as every one of my videos, is brought to you by the Stonemont series, my series of books on how to survive, how to prepare for, how to survive, and how to rebuild after a total collapse. It'll work in, well, I won't tell you, it'll work in anything. If you haven't read them, you will like them. It's a series of 6 novels so far, the most recent of which is Hostages to Fortune. It started, I believe I started the series in 2017. It's the reversion, the revival, the renewal, and appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom, and finally the one that just came out, Hostages to Fortune. These are available in These are available from Amazon in paperback or Kindle. The most recent one, Hostages to Fortune, is the first one that's available in hardback. So you can get it there, or you can get the either individual ones or the complete set from me. There's a way to do that, autographed copies. All that information is down there. And for those who buy the complete set, because I know that we have many stone monters who have already had the set, but they buy sets for friends and gifts and things like that. For those who buy the complete set, or even if you're new to this, I throw in the new Stonemont notebook, which is very cool. Just came out. I throw that in for free, and what that is just a notebook to keep your notes in. This was inspired by an idea that I stole from, with her permission, from Sherry Fancoli, one of our subscribers, one of our patrons over on Patreon. And it's a cool notebook, and it's helping me stay organized. It tells about Stonemont on the back. On the front, it gives you a little direction. It says, commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. What that means is commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will succeed. Okay, and that keeps it ever in the front of our mind, the true important driver of our preparedness and of our lives. So like I said, just to give you an idea, this is the 6th video that I've made today. I just put up one over on American Reversion about the possibility. It looks like Trump, at least he feels like he's going to be arrested on Tuesday. That'll be interesting, won't it? I talk about what I think about that on American Reversion. I put up 2 over on Prepping for Prosperity. If you are truly, one is, well, I won't tell you, if you're truly interested, that channel is growing. And if you're truly interested in prosperity and prospering as you prepare and using your preparedness activities in order to prosper. If you haven't joined us over there yet, please do. You're going to like it. You're going to get a lot out of it. I stopped putting a lot of the financial information on integrative preparedness. A lot of people just, I'll be honest, I felt like I was wasting my time because just too many people here didn't want to hear about it. And so those who do want to hear about it now are over there. And all of you should want to. You need to be able to not just prepare for the world as it may happen, but you need to be able to increase your ability to live well within the world as it is today. And that is about money. It's about your assets, and it's about skills. I understand all that, but money helps you in all of these areas. Over on the Patreon channel, I just put up a couple today. One on the treating of soft tissue injuries. That was in response to a patron's question, to a 100-110 challenge that I put up over there. I put up another one in response to another question about drawing from pocket carry. And then in the last week or so, I've put these up just on Patreon, not on YouTube, about who are the enemies, a pharma medical story, a comparison of Chuck Norris to Bruce Lee, who would win that fight, and my opinions on that, and a word on social media that might surprise you what I have to say about that. So if you're not with us on Patreon, you're shortchanging yourself, because you're not just shortchanging yourself from extra content from me, but from a large number of excellent sources on other areas. Our patrons over there are extremely intelligent. They are a special bunch. I talk about the fact that I think I have the smartest subscribers in YouTube land, and I do. It's even a step up over on Patreon. And if you're over there already, make sure that you access the community section, because we got people put excellent stuff in the community section. Okay, now to this greatest danger, CBDC. CBDC. Central bank digital currency. If you all happen to watch the one that I put up on Patreon about a week or two ago, I guess it was entitled Johnny's Cash, the Smart Money. If you've watched that, you're kind of filled in with what this is about. If you haven't, you can watch it. You can find it somewhere on YouTube. Just watch it. It explains. It does a real good, it's only 15 minutes long, does a real good job explaining about the dangers of a central bank digital currency. Now, what is a central bank digital currency? It is essentially a central bank, and in our case here would be the Fed, right? Who here trusts the Fed? Raise your hand. Nobody? A smart group. Okay, we know that most of our problems and our wars have been caused by central bankers, right? There are those who think that the recent financial collapses of SVB and other banks were an attempt to drive the cause of CBDC, because one of them was heavy in crypto. They were heavy in the tech, the high tech areas, industries, and they were kind of getting ahead. And we've seen the collapse of some of the cryptos, which were billed as being a safe haven from the influences of central banks. You know, I'm not into that, and a lot of people have lost a lot because they invested in it and didn't understand it. And one of the main rules, I'll just slip this financial tidbit in here in this piece of advice: don't ever invest in anything you don't fully understand. Simple as that. I don't care whether it's stocks, real estates, bonds, whatever it is. Don't. I talk about this over a lot on Prepping for Prosperity. Don't invest in things that you don't understand. The danger of a central bank digital currency is that it centralizes complete control over you. Because if they have control, you know, the old saying, if you control the food, you control the people. Well, if you control the money, you also control the people. And while many will say, well, I can survive without money because I have these skills and I have a big garden and I raise my own animals and all that, yes, you're able to for now, maybe not for much longer. And so, you know, to take too much consolation in that is a big danger because of the potential reach of a CBDC. Okay. Now, what can they do? They've been moving towards a digital currency for a long time. And one of the first ways was with debit cards. Okay, and we get used to spending with our debit cards. I did one on Prepping for Prosperity the other day talking about, you know, it's been shown time and time again that people who use cash spend a lot less money than those who use even debit cards, not even mentioning credit cards. When you spend cash, you actually see the money going out. But when you use a debit card, it is so easy just to slide it in. You don't see any cash leaving your hands. until you check your account, and hopefully you check your account often, because too many people are shocked. Too many people are surprised. A lot of people have said they're afraid to check their accounts because they'll find out they don't have anything in there. But it's just so easy to slide that piece of plastic in there, and it's almost like magic money. Well, it's not magic money, it's real money. But our minds don't think that way. Our minds think that, well, if we don't see the cash going out, we're not really spending money. Big mistake. So the use of debit cards was really part of a plan to get people spending more money, more than they could afford in many cases. The next step was, of course, direct deposit. It was sold as, if you sign up for a direct deposit, and I remember the day when people were going, what? Really? Direct deposit? I don't have to take my check and go to the bank? Wow, how convenient. That would just be great for them to put my money directly in my account, and then I can go spend it. And their big selling point was, if you sign up for direct deposit, you'll get your money available 2 days earlier. And people, of course, who live so close to the edge of their financial abilities go, wow, 2 days earlier, great, I need that. And so they did it. And finally it got to the point that, have you all gotten a new job lately or applied for a new job? Try to get a new job that we'll even give you a paper check. You have to sign up for direct deposit. Sorry, I had to cough. This is all an attempt to separate you from the reality of your money, a personal relationship with your money, and that means the value of your labor, the value of your work. Okay. Now, the CBDC, the central bank digital currency, is all tied in with, just like Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, trying to get everybody into smaller areas to where they can be more easily controlled. The food delivery system can control, the money can control them. It's all tied into these 15-minute cities. It's all tied into your smart meters. It's everything. It will be the complete control of your life. So to just give this a brief overview of what it could be, that once this, and I encourage you, go watch that Johnny's Cash, The Smart Money. Once a CBDC is introduced, it's going to negate all other systems. And they do. They want to take, the central banks want to take all of your monetary choices away from you. Okay? So once it's introduced, you are plugged into a central system. Everything is digital. Forget money. They really may. I've had people say, your money's not going to be any good when they outlaw money. To which my response is always, well, my money's good now, and so that's why it's important to increase the production of your money, because of what you can use it for to further your preps, okay? So money's good now. But yes, there is a definite possibility that they will outlaw cash. And then they'll say, well, you can go to a barter system. Some of us go, a barter life is so rudimentary. It's extremely difficult, and it really is. I mean, you want to throw yourself back to the several centuries back, or you want to live an underground economy. It can be done. It cannot be done easily, and it cannot be done and maintain a very high quality of life. That's just the truth about that. But as they institute this, then they can start, once they control all of this, they control your access to your money. Okay? And as that video says, they might say, well, okay, because of the climate, people can only buy X number of gallons of fuel a week. We need to save the planet. Greta wants you to stop driving so much. And so on your digital card, it's going to limit you to how many gallons of fuel you can buy a week. Or they might say, you're eating too much red meat. So they can limit your card on how much red meat you can buy. And I know that, you can say, well, I have a good relationship with a farmer and a rancher out there and I can get my stuff. Well, okay. They're also going to be tied in with the digital currency, and they may make it a crime, a financial crime, to sell outside the system. Do you think that many of these guys are going to risk their entire family, their farm, their ranch, to sell you a half a cow? If they can be shut down entirely, if with one flip of a switch, the central bank can go, no more business for you. Now they're going to have to live on a bare subsistence barter life. No, most aren't. They'll say, okay, well, we need everyone to take this particular medical procedure. You have 30 days to get it. And then if we don't see, the digital evidence that you have received this procedure, your card's shut off. But I have $30,000 in there. Oh, doesn't make any difference. You have $30,000 of so-called $30,000 of ones and zeros in somebody's computer. All that represents is available buying power. Okay, and if they say nope, he hasn't got this, it's just like the job. It's just like the job, but on a greater scale. Okay, when we were told at the hospital, well, in order to keep your job, you need to show that you've had this procedure by such and such a date. Now, we were able to resist that because we had other sources of income. That's where the prepping comes in. I had already made sure that I had other avenues of income, so that we didn't have to take that. If we lost our jobs, what would have been the ramifications if I didn't have other sources of income? A lot of people did have that procedure done because they couldn't afford to lose their job. And it's easy to say, well, you got to stand up, you got to take a stand. If you have a family and you don't have another way to make money, you can't support a family working at Home Depot, to be real honest. So it's I'm not saying that one way, I'm not saying that that's exactly right or that. Everybody has to make their own choice on this. But it's just that my preparations allowed me to make that choice. But in the case of a CBDC, that's the same thing on steroids. Because you don't have any cash anymore, everything's ones and zeros in the CBDC account. And if you and all of your kids and your dogs and cat and pet fish don't get this medical situation done by such and such a date, sorry, your account is inoperable. You can't pay your house payment, you can't pay your rent, you can't pay your car payments. Well, you shouldn't have a car payment. Hey, some do, okay? Some do. You can't buy food. How about that? You can't buy food. Well, I have a garden. Well, do you have a big enough garden to feed 100% of your food? This is the biggest danger that's out there. I'll get into more of this stuff over on the financial channel, the Prepping for Prosperity, but I just wanted to put this in here today because I feel that this is finally the biggest. We've had challenges before, we've had dangers before, but in my opinion, this is the biggest danger on the horizon. So educate yourself about it, understand it, start preparing for ways to survive if and when and as it gets implemented. Think about it. It's going to take some thought. It's going to take some preparing, and just get ready. Make it a part of your understanding of what you need to be prepared for. And I'd suggest you get started now. For those of you who are interested in the financial aspects, and I'll tell you what, the wars of the future. It's just like all wars are started over money, and they are. All wars are about money. All power is about money. these threats are about money, and you need to understand it, and you need to understand how to take steps to protect yourself for it. And for those of you who are interested in it, join us over on Prepping for Prosperity. I put the link down below. Down below are the links for the Patreon channel, the Prepping for Prosperity channel, the American Reversion channel, and how to get my books. So, something to think about, right? A lot to think about. But that's life. So remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And get to prepping, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.